Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to School of Science. My name is Luke and this is the post-match action for Everton versus Man City. Everton 0, Man City 2. Yeah. So this one's a bit of a double whammy today. So obviously we've lost, and as a result we've also potentially might have lost James Tarkowski for the rest of the season. That is an absolute gut punch because I really do actually like the guy. But the thing is that the first part being a gut punch just for the fact that it was a bad loss. First half, we actually played really well. We stopped most of their advances pretty much. We put more of a attempt in on it. And it was a reasonably quiet first half, so we were knocking at their door. They weren't doing the same for us. They had a couple of moments, but there wasn't much to really trouble Jordan Pickford much. The defence held strong. Idrissa Gueye, as we know, he's a nice solid lad. Really got in between them, was putting some nice challenges in. Likewise with the likes of Jake O'Brien. Decore to not too bad of a game. Jack Harrison actually had a decent half for the change. He was getting a lot of motion with the ball, cutting inside. He's getting used to that right wing position. He is starting to actually get used. So it's starting to make people sort of think twice about us sending him back to City. Back to Leeds. It's starting to make us think twice about that. We're potentially thinking of, do we get him on one more loan with like some sort of obligation or something like that, certain criteria? There's murmurs of that around the grounds and everything. But Decore, as I said, decent game today. Didn't do too much wrong. He was a bit, as I normally say, he was a bit start and stop when he had the ball. And with the likes of Man City, you don't really want to stop with the ball. You want to try and carry on moving with the ball. Because the second you stop, their midfield swarms you. You're absolutely swarmed in that regard. Now, bear in mind, they've not got great quality at the moment. The players that they've got right now, they're great players, but they don't seem to be working cohesively. So when situations like that happen, there is a little bit of a half second before they sort of click things into action. And as a result, you can sort of move with the ball like that. But you still don't really want to be, going from A, stop, then to B. You want to really be doing a nice smooth transition. It needs to be going like that rather than, you want to bam, 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 rather than them moving, because chances are you're not just going to sort of stop the flow of the game, but you're also going to have that situation of you stopped and your attackers, your likes of Iliman Ndiaye, Brozier, Harrison, they've all moved up and either they're going to be in an offside position now because you've taken too long in the transition point, or they've already been marked out. So Iliman Ndiaye going up that left, he had a player pretty much straight on him once Decore decides to start to move. Likewise with Brozier. The problem is with Brozier as well, I like the guy, but he's too far back. He is way too far back and he doesn't work as a lone striker. In the game today, I think rather than us doing the subs that we did, we could have changed that so much better. So I'll talk about that in a minute, but for the rest of the first half, not too much. Caught the upright, and I'm not sure whether this is in the second half, but Tarkowski got a nice clean header. And I think Brantwaite, when he got the movement with the ball, all he had anywhere else to go with the ball. Now, bear in mind, it could have went in any which way, but he had the unfortunate circumstance of when he heads that ball, the keeper was just there and had his hands in the right place to just go bam and palm it. So massively unlucky not to go 1-0 up at the restart. But yeah, so things started to go wrong around I think it was around the 55 to 60 minute mark. So ball came through, Tarkowski caught it with the studs. The only problem is he caught it and he followed through with his foot, and it looks like he seriously overstretched his hammy. So that is pretty much him done for the season. It's sad, really. It is really sad because I love Tarkowski at this point in time. He is an absolutely solid centre-back. He's had well over 100 consecutive games without an injury. And now, of all times, now he's picked up this injury. We've got big games ahead of us. We've got the likes of Chelsea, we've got Ipswich, we've got Fulham, we've got Southampton and Newcastle. Those are the last 5 games of the season. These are the games where it's critical that we have as fit of a squad as possible. But unfortunately, it does look like this could be potentially the end of the season. I don't want to say that. I really don't want to say that, but it's looking likely. I'm hoping I'm so wrong in this one. I am wrong on some occasions when it comes to like things like this. I've said in the past where I'm like, oh, actually, it's not too long, but it's actually been a lot longer. Or I've turned around and said, oh, that could be the end of the season for him. And then they've turned around and went, actually, no, it's only a couple of weeks. So I am seriously hoping that this is a situation where I'm wrong and they actually turn around, Moyes turn around and goes, he overstretched it a little bit, but this was a seriously precautionary thing. You could see him limping off a little bit, but it's just something of a precaution. We're dealing with him now. He should be back on the grass for Fulham. We'll say something like that. I'm hoping for that. I am desperately hoping for that. But yeah, the substitutions though. So the first one being Tarkowski off, Keane on. My personal opinion, big mistake. You had two options in that situation. Well, actually, I had three. Two of them would have worked. One of them was a really bad one. And Moyes actually made the bad one. So in this situation, what he could have done was he could have said, right, Jake, come inside. You are going to be the centre. Branthwaite's going to be assisting you. Yous are both going to be the centre-back partnership. Patterson, come on, play in your position, play in right back. Or the lesser position where he could have turned around and said, actually, no, Jake, same thing again. Centre-back and Ashley Young, come on. You're tenacious. You're not going to let them get past you. You've got Doku who's going to potentially be coming on to deal with. Just axe him if you need to. It's them sort of things. But instead he says, no, we're going to do like for like in this situation. Tarkowski off, Michael Keane on. And from there, the wheels started coming off, in my opinion. So from there, you could see that there was some sort of, this is the problem. When this came into play, you could see almost instantly that Branthwaite was trying to cover two bits of ground at once because Michael Keane is just error-laden. I'm saying this not because I hate him. I do like Michael Keane. He is a decent player in his day. But on this game, at this point, nah, not this one. So yeah, Michael Keane, he was error-laden, in my personal opinion. There was a moment there, ball came through, he had time to sort of control it. Granted, he had Mamouche pretty much on his shoulder, but he had one of two options that he could have done. He either could have, when he had felt Mamouche, instead of going for the header, he could have brought himself back a touch and just wellied it back upfield, or he could have tried to control it, bring it down, and then move on with it. But instead, he tries to see if he can beat him whilst having Mamouche coming onto him like this. He tries to head it over Mamouche to Pickford. This failed miserably. Mamouche gets the ball. Thankfully, he takes a very poor touch with it and sends it wide. But that could have been 1-0 from there. That seriously could have been 1-0 from there. And then from there, after these couple of little scares, Moyes tries to bolster up the squad a little bit and makes a couple of more questionable decisions, in my personal opinion. So he takes Breuer off, brings Better on. I think this was probably the wrong move in one situation. He could have brought Corey off and brought Better on and said to Breuer, right, come back. I can see that you like to get back. So you're going to come back as number 10. You're going to provide for Beto. You could have done it like that because at this time we were still 0-0. We should have been going for this game and going for this win because we know City are not exactly a steady team at this point in time. But instead he decides to bring Breuer off and do a like for like. Same with Tarkowski, it was a like for like. And then shortly after that, he decides to make the final three substitutions. So it was McNeil, Irabernum, and who else? Alcaraz, that's it. And he brought off Idrissa Gueye, Iliman Ndiaye, and Harrison. That's it. So in this weird world that Moyes was in today, the tactics weren't right, in my honest to God. I think the tactics are wrong with this one. Instead of Ndiaye coming off, now let's say for argument's sake, so he could have brought Corey off again, McNeil on, have him as the number 10, have Ndiaye on the left still, Alcaraz on the right. Irabernum should have come on for not Idrissa Gueye. Idrissa Gueye was having a smashing game today. He was cutting out on many moments of Man City. He was doing brilliant today and he brought him off. Maybe Moyes had saw something in the stars and said, right, if I don't bring him off, he's going to get injured. Or just a gaze indicator saying, mate, sub me, I'm fucked. Or something else. He was only yellow at the time, and I do think if he would have carried on playing the way he was, he might have got a red further on down the line. But I might have to disagree on that one. But I do think James Garner should have come off and Irbernim come on in that regard, because it's just a guy and Irbernim have a good little dynamic together. And I mean, hang on, we had Coleman. Why didn't we bring Coleman on? Then again, Coleman was maybe just there to sort of bring up the numbers, like he's operating as an ad hoc sort of coach. So whilst everyone's warming up, he's still doing his thing, warming up with them, but also offering sort of coaching sort of stuff, maybe. But yeah. So in them situations, I do think Moyes has made a few errors here, there and everywhere in this game today. Do I think they contributed to the 2-0 win? In a way, yes. So I would think Moyes needs to hold his hand and say, look, I made the mistake there. I thought bringing Michael Keane on was the right decision. Unfortunately, this was not. I will take that and say, I'm sorry, that was my bad. I do think Patterson or Young or Coleman, one of those guys coming on, because I do think that was an opportunity for Jake O'Brien to go into a centre-back position. Jake is a very comfortable player as a centre-back, so I do think he would have benefited from that. Do we have Dixon on the bench? Because in this way, we sort of have 3 to 4 right-backs, 2 which can operate as right midfielders. So, but yeah. So for the Man City's first goal, so cross comes in. Branthwaite, instead of looking for his man, stood there calling offside when he wasn't offside. The guy, I think the players need to be emphasised this. Stop trying to call for fucking offsides and everything. The referee has already got it in their head. They're not going to let the players on the pitch influence their decisions unless you're wearing a Liverpool badge, a City badge, an Arsenal badge, a Chelsea badge, or a Spurs badge. Unless you're wearing one of them badges, you aren't influencing their decision. So in that regard, don't try and influence the decision of the game by going like this and calling, offside, offside, offside. Because the linesman can see if he's offside or not, and the opposition can see if they're offside or not. So in that regard, also you got the semi-automated VAR. So if it does go in from that regard, then no worries, because he will be called offside by the semi-automated system. So I understand it might be just something in the nature, but they need to fucking cut out these bloody calls, because that's got a contribution towards this goal. Likewise with Jake O'Brien and Michael Keane. So in this situation, Michael Keane, he's very much one-dimensional when it comes to this moment. So he was literally just looking ahead to him, not going like this, not looking around his shoulders, not seeing, okay, Jake's lost this guy, I need to cover him. No, he's just stuck, focused on the ball, caught ball watching, ball comes in, goal, 1-0. From there, we sort of go into panic. We panic a bit. We're sort of scrambling around the back. We're trying to push up. There's just no, the cohesion sort of goes after this goal. We sort of lose ourselves a bit. We do look like we've lost our spine in this sort of regard, that being Tarkowski and Idrissa Gueye. We've lost the leadership. We've lost the people who are holding on to the cohesion of the team badly. So this is something that Moyes needs to address, and soon, because our next game is Chelsea away. Granted, Chelsea are not doing well at the moment. They're performing rather poorly, both Premier League, they're out of the Europa Conference, they're just not doing well. But they might look at this game and go, ooh, Everton are actually here for the taking. We could potentially pip something on this. But yeah, we do need to sort that out seriously. And the one thing today as well, it does make me laugh that the Man City fans are calling us fucking cheats, because, I mean, you've got 115 charges at the moment. You can't say shit about anyone, quite frankly. I mean, you have poached youth players off teams who are struggling. You have actively went and bought players so that other teams couldn't get them. Case in point being the likes of, I can't even say Jack Grealish because he has featured a little bit, but Jack Grealish in a limited extent, taking John Stones from us. They've poached these sorts of players, affected their mindsets. Julian Lescott. Calvin Phillips is another one. Gareth Barry being another one from Aston Villa. They've went and sort of plucked these players from teams, getting these players, and not in the way to try and benefit themselves, but to hinder opposition. So if they see, let's say for argument's sake, Jack Grealish for argument's sake, let's say Newcastle or someone like that said, oh, actually, we could benefit from him, so we want to get him. They've went in and said, no, we want him. He's going to benefit our team. We're going to give you this big wage. We're going to give you guys this big transfer fee. Oh, Jack, see that bench over there? Go warm it up. That's essentially how they've done it. Now, bear in mind, I know Jack Grealish actually has a bit of a pivotal role with their squad, but I'm using him as an example because he was the first name that came into my head. But this is how I feel that they've been doing things. Also, they're bad when it comes to cooking the books. Really, really bad. When it comes to financial manipulation and essentially money laundering, it's clear as day. Some of the bloody sponsorships that they've had on their arms and here, all this stuff is, this is bad. Just for the fact that, I mean, the Etihad naming rights on the stadium and the front of shirt. I mean, I haven't got the numbers right in front of me now. I don't know them off the top of my head, but right here, this is how much they get per season for those naming rights and the front of shirt rights. I mean, that alone is egregious. I mean, most teams, when it comes to a front of shirt sponsor, normally it's like, I think it's about 5. It's not a lot per season for the front of shirt because most of the companies who do this, it's a brand. Don't get me wrong, it's a great advertising platform because you're on the world stage essentially. Your eyeballs are gonna be on like nearly hundreds of millions to billions are gonna see that advertisement and they're gonna, oh, what's this? But the amount that Man City are getting pumped into it, and it's mostly down to the fact that it is state sponsored essentially. They're basically getting an entire country to fund them as a football club, and it's blatantly illegal. I mean, it's severely unfair sportsmanship, and to be honest, I'm not happy with it myself. I do hope that they get thrown right down to the National League, and every single contract that they've got in that club gets considered null and void as a result of this, because it is basically surplus to what has gone on. So the likes of Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Edison, Walker. No, Kyle Walker's not with them anymore, sorry. Gundogan, Gavaldio. All those guys, just Marmouche as well. I hope every single one of those contracts gets cancelled. They basically turn around and say, right, you're going to have to renegotiate these contracts and we're going to monitor how much you get in these contracts. So if anyone else comes for them, tough shit, they lose out on that player. So Haaland could end up going to, say, Real Madrid or Barcelona, something like that. Basically, they could give them a decent little contract, say, right, we're going to pay you X amount per week. You get a bonus per goal, blah, blah, blah. Probably not as good as Man City, but Man City are not going to be able to offer you any better. I would love to see that. I would love to see them getting put right down to the National League, and they have to basically clamber their way back up by buying smart and not being able to manipulate the market, because quite frankly, they are fucking cheats. But yeah, so overall, it was a pretty dull game in the first half. In the second half, though, shit went sideways for us. We lost. We did lose badly, and it was down to the fact that we lost Sarkowski, we replaced poorly, we replaced Idrissa Gueye with someone who's not really adequate for that role, and essentially we'd lost the backbone of our entire squad. Hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping it's not too long out. It does look like a season ender, especially this late on into the season. But I'm hoping I am severely wrong and it's only a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. But yeah. So yeah, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'd also like to say a big thank you to the people who've been supporting the channel. If you want to be like these guys and get your name out over here, why not become a part of the Cup of Coffee tier? It does help me severely with this channel. As you know, I operate this solely on ad revenue at the moment. The ad revenue that gets put out from YouTube is quite pitiful in all honesty. So if you guys are able to support the channel in your own way, whether that be in liking, giving me feedback, subscribing, sharing it, becoming a part of the Cup of Coffee tier, as I said, this is only £1 per month. So if you're part of that, you will get your name down here. You'll be helping out the channel massively so we can actually upgrade hardware, software, get green screen sorted out, because I want to get a green screen. Honestly, the tactics video that you would have seen recently, so that was a very bare bones sort of system. I can make that a hell of a lot more impressive by having a green screen behind me where I will be stood back. You will have the green screen here And we can even do interactive shit with it. So I could quite literally be going like, right, we've got say 3, 4, 2, 1. And I can start doing this sort of gestures and it will interact with it. I can do this sort of stuff when it comes to technology. It is absolutely child's play for me. The green screen is the critical thing, because if I was to do an overlay, this would look very blocky and horrible. I want to do the green screen for it though. Likewise, when it comes to hardware and everything like that, right now we're operating with aging hardware right now. My computer is pretty much locked to Windows 10. So come October, I've got to resort over to my laptop. The laptop is pretty much on par with my current computer, but can do Windows 11. If any of you guys, if this is going over your heads, basically it's just due to security reasons. But yeah, what was that? Oh, lovely. But yeah, so as a whole, I do appreciate you guys giving me continued support. Again, if you want to suggest anything for the channel, put in the comments below. If you like it, you know what to do. If you don't like it, you know what to do, and you can do that as well. But yeah, and if you want to support the channel, massively appreciate it. You'll be helping out the channel so much, even if it's only £1 a month. As you know, that goes so far. Right now, we've got 3,300 people, 3,200, 3,300 people are following the channel right now. If only 1/10 of you guys are doing this, that's £330 to £340 per month. The amount of things I can upgrade with that is just mind-blowing, I promise you. But yeah, I have been talking for probably about 20 minutes now, and probably say about 2/3 of it was football. A good chunk of it, about, let's put it like this, probably say about 3/5 of it was football. 2/5 of it were about Man City being the gang of cheating cunts, because they are, and the last bit of it was this outro. So yeah guys, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Onwards and upwards, this hasn't really affected us too bad. We are still, in a technical sense, safe. We can use these sorts of things, we can dust these off, we can brush ourselves off and work with what we've got. And come the summer, we can fuck the likes of Michael Keane off, Calvert-Lewin off, Decore off. We can offer just to get another contract because we need him. He needs to stay with this squad. He's a core member of the squad. We can work with it. We can build on it. And it's going to be a great season to go into Bramley-Moore. I promise you that. When we go into Bramley-Moore next season, everything is going up. I can promise you. This is only a mere stumble for the football club. But yeah, take care. Have a great one. Up the fucking toffees. And peace.